Here's something crazy. 3 out of the 5 best campaigns we've ever launched for this brand, Great Balls of Flour, have all been text-based emails, which means there were no graphics, no images, just great copywriting that made that brand over $5,000. Now the question is, what did those emails say? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what those emails said, the thought process behind making them, and how you can take the principles from those emails and use them for your own brand's email marketing today. My name is Alex, and I'm the founder of IX Media. We made our clients over $200,000 with email and SMS marketing, so take that as you will. Let's get to it. All right, so let me read you the first one. As context, this was sent the day after Halloween. Subject line, thank you, here's your gift. Hi, Alexander. As we head into the festive season, I want to take a moment to say something that can't be said enough. Thank you. Thank you for being part of our journey, for choosing Great Balls of Flour, and for supporting what we do. Every purchase, every story you share, and every piece of feedback fuels our passion to keep creating great pizza dough balls that we're proud of and that you love. So enjoy your relaxing time with family before the Black Friday, Cyber Monday craziness sneaks up on you. Now, if you want to get ahead of the madness, this is a friendly reminder that our early access Black Friday sale is live, 15% off site-wide. It's our way of giving back to you this season and giving you the opportunity to gift your family with delicious and great pizza dough ball. Use code XYZ, and the CTA is shop now. From all of us at Great Balls of Flour, thank you. With gratitude, James, founder of Great Balls of Flour. Okay, so why did this email perform so well? Well, let's take into account 2 big factors. Number 1, it had a discount, which more than likely is going to perform a lot better than an email without one. But 2, which is the more important one, was that the email felt personalized. All right, for example, it looked like James, the founder of Great Balls of Flour, actually wrote that email directly to the person receiving it, not to a big email marketing list. Okay, but why is this so important? Well, let's take a look back to some other emails we sent on behalf of Great Balls of Flour. If you're looking at the screen, you're seeing a collage of emails we sent on behalf of them, but none of them truly have a personalized feel to it. All right, now let's take a look back at the text-based email. You'll notice 3 things were distinctly personalized. Number 1, the person's name. It says, hey, Alexander. Number 2, we reference the current event. This email was sent right around Christmas time, so we mentioned how it was the festive season and how all the Black Friday and Cyber Monday craziness was about to sneak up on people. And thirdly, at the very bottom of the email, it had a sign-off from the founder, James, making it seem like he wrote that email directly to the person reading it. So when you're writing your own text-based emails, make sure that they actually look personalized with the person's name, maybe mentioning a current event and especially having a sign off at the end from the founder or somebody that's actually within the team. And by the way, I think this is one of the most important parts about email marketing, because a lot of people try to do them themselves and they try to make the designs and they try to make the copy, but they don't have the true fundamentals in place. So if you wanted to maybe get some help with that in your email marketing, working on a commission basis with somebody and having a team dedicated towards running it, you can click the first link in the description and book a time with my team to see if we might be able to help. Anyways, let's get back to it. All right, so how do you personalize your emails? Well, you have a few options, but the best way is to use syntax. Now, all syntax is a little line that Klaviyo or whatever email service provider you're using gives you that personalizes that little line directly to the person's data. For example, if you have the person's name on file, it'll automatically say the person's name instead of this little line. Now, a few examples of what that looks like is using the person's name. So instead of saying, hey, friend, you could use syntax to say, hey, the person's name. Hey, Alex. Hey, Christian. Hey, Diego. Which, by the way, I know sounds simple, but just the fact that a lot of brands don't even know how to do this makes your brand a lot more special when you actually send out an email with the person's name. Another example is using a current event. In this email, we talked about, again, how it was the festive season, how the Christmas time was coming. So in your emails, make sure that you mention current events, maybe something popular that happened in your specific niche, your country, your world, etc. And thirdly, which is one of the best personalizations, is having a sign off of the founder at the end. For example, something you could do is at the very bottom of the email say, with gratitude, Alex, comma, founder of whatever the brand's name is. Those 3 ways are some of the best ways to personalize your emails. Now, there are a few other ways like adding somebody's birthday and somebody's color. So unless you're one of these huge multi-billion-dollar e-com brands that have a lot of capital and have a huge email list, I'm talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in their list, then it may make sense to actually personalize your emails a little bit more. But aside from that, these 3 personalizations will kill it for your brand. Now let's go on to the next email, which is a little bit more cheeky than the previous one, but is actually getting people to have urgency without having to give away any type of discount. Let me read it to you. Subject line, 24 hours prime early access. Hey Alexander, personalization. James, founder of Great Balls of Flour here. Just 3 things. Number 1, our Halloween sale is tomorrow. Number 2, we're unfortunately not fully stocked. And number 3, you're in the top 10% of people who've engaged with our emails. So I wanted to give you early access before we probably run out on Friday. CTA, Shop Pizza Dough Balls. Hope you get your hands on them before we run out. James, founder of Great Balls of Flour, magic button. All right, right off the get-go, you'll notice that this is a pretty short email. It's literally just 3 things with a call to action. However, notice the third thing that said. You're in the top 10% of people who've engaged with their email. And right under there, so I wanted to give you early access before we probably run out on Friday. Now, this has 2 great urgency plays you could use at any stage of your business without even having to use a discount. The first one we use is exclusivity. You're in the top 10% of people who've engaged with their emails. Okay, and number 2, inventory scarcity. We're unfortunately not fully stocked, and we'll probably run out on Friday. These two lines we've used over and over again across multiple different brands because, again, it has a great urgency play without having to use any type of discount. And again, the cool thing about it, it's literally just telling the truth and stating the facts. Okay, now think about your own brand. Maybe you don't have a humongous list that 10% of the list may have a huge impact, but I'm betting that you've served thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of customers in the past. Now, out of those hundreds of thousands of customers, maybe only 10% of them actually subscribe to your emails, which therefore makes them the top 10% of customers who've engaged with your emails. All right, another example is running out of stock. Everybody runs out of stock at some point, but you use that to your advantage. Right before you sell out or as you're selling out, make sure they say, hey, I'm about to sell out, we're about to run out of stock, we're about to get out of a certain type of product. Are your products made by hand? If they are, there's a scarcity play right there. Say, because our products are handmade, we're not going to be able to keep up with all the demand of this big holiday, which means we're probably going to run out. You could even use something as obvious as the tariffs. If you're going to be raising your prices, send an email out that says, hey, because of the tariff situation going on, we have no choice but to up our prices. Now, before we do that, because you've been such a loyal customer, we wanted to give you an opportunity to get your hands on your chocolates, drinks, whatever you sell is, before we raise the prices. Again, signaling urgency without having to give away a discount. And by the way, just wanted a side note, we literally sent this email out 2 days ago for one of our clients, and it literally ended up being the #1 email we've ever sent out with them. Like literally. All right, so what does that mean for you? Well, look at your own brand and see what urgency plays you could use within your own business. Are your products handmade? Is there a limited supply? Are you about to be out of stock? Find different ways you could use scarcity in your emails without having to promote a discount. Everyone in business has an advantage. You just have to use it. Lastly, all right, which takes us into our next email. And by the way, is my personal favorite text-based email we've ever launched for brands because of two things. Number one, it works for every single brand we've tried it on. And number two, it almost always is the top performing email of that brand. So much so that when we launched this email, after 24 hours, we ended up selling their entire stock. So just be warned, it works like crazy. For context, this is a Mother's Day email. Subject line, Alexander, we messed up. My apologies. So our team kind of messed up Mother's Day. Our site manager forgot to turn off our Mother's Day promo code. Usually we just stop promoting big discounts in cases like this, but we've been looking at your past engagements, and since you've been such a big fan of Great Balls of Flour, I wanted to personally remind you of our little oops. Code title is XYZ for 15% off your purchase. Off Selecto Balls, CTA shop 15% off mom. Kindly keep this between us, however, as we're not promoting this code publicly. Thanks again, Alexander. James, founder of Great Balls of Flour. Now, before you say that this email is going to damage your reputation or you're going to lose trust with your customers because you're admitting to a mistake, let me tell you this. Admitting your faults doesn't weaken your reputation, it strengthens it. Here's why. I'll give you an example. Imagine you go to a bar one day and you start chopping it up with a bartender and you ask him, hey man, I know you're a bartender and all, but do you know how to cook? He laughs and says, man, I burn everything I touch. You both laugh and then you say, well, I'm sure you know how to wash dishes, right? He says, I'm the biggest germaphobe you'll ever meet. You laugh again and you finally ask him, man, do you even know how to be a waiter? And he says to you, I don't even know half the things on the menu. All right, you both laugh it off, and after a minute or two, and then he says, but I'm the best bartender you're ever gonna meet. All right, and what happens? The guy believes the bartender. Not because he was telling him how good he bartends or how long he's been doing it for, or all these different things, but because he admitted what he was not good at, so that when he told you what he could do and what he was good at, you believed him. And that's why this email works so well. When you're radically honest about what's going on in your business and even admitting to some of your faults and mistakes, people are going to resonate more with your brand than ever before because in their mind, they're saying to themselves, you know what? No other brand said this. This is actually them being honest. Might as well give them the benefit of the doubt and buy a product. It rubs people off in such a good way because it feels genuine. It feels real. Now, how can you use this in your own brand? Well, if there's maybe an intentional mistake you made in your brand, say it. Say, hey, our site manager forgot to turn off our code. Or, hey, we didn't order enough product. Same thing as the last email. Might as well get your hands on them because we're probably going to run out. Another example is if you sell a high ticket item, you could say, hey, unlike all those other companies that sell a low ticket item and they don't care about the customer, we only choose the best ingredients, the highest quality products, all these different things that are good about your brand. That's why we charge the prices we charge. On the flip side, if you sell a low ticket item, say, hey, because we also care about our customers, we're not going to use unnecessary ingredients or we're not going to use unnecessary products. That's why we're able to charge the price that we charge. At the end of the day, both brands sell the exact same thing. Just one product's a little bit more expensive and the other's not. But it's the way you phrase your advantages, more importantly, your weaknesses, but turning them into advantage that makes all the difference. And last thing I'm going to say is this. If you think that this isn't going to work because your community has such a deep relationship with you and such a deep trust with you and that you can never make any mistake, think about somebody in your own family or a very close friend. If you told them, hey, listen, I've been doing this too much, or you messed up, and you tell them in such a genuine and real way, that friend, if they're a good friend, or that family member, if they're a good family member, is going to come for you and trust in you more because you told them the truth. That's the same thing in email marketing. All right, matter of fact, let me give you one more email that we've actually used this for one of our brands that absolutely crushed as well. Now, this is actually a graphic-based email, so we're moving away from text-based email, but I think this is gonna perfectly demonstrate my point. Now, as we're pulling it up, you'll notice that the headline and topic of the email are chocolate isn't cheap. Probably not the first thing you're gonna say to potential customers, but as you keep on scrolling, we could make it cheaper, then we have to make cuts to the product like losing out on these great features. And then it goes on to say all the good things about the chocolate. This type of email where you're promoting a weakness in your product and turning it into a strength is always going to perform so well for your brand because people resonate with honesty. They resonate with truth. If you say that your brand is the best thing in the world and has no mistakes and no faults and none of these things, especially in the trust era we are today, people are going to seem kind of sus and they're going to be like, you know what, maybe this company's just saying all the good things. What's going to be bad about it? Okay, but if your faults and your weaknesses come from you and your brand, people are going to think, you know what, this brand's actually upfront with me and they're going to trust you more because it came from you. Okay, and full disclaimer, I wrote this email back in like 2024 and it was when I was still designing the emails for a client, so I probably took it from one of these marketing gurus, but I have tried it out and I have made that email and I could very confidently say this email will absolutely crush it for you if you do it right. But anyways, let's wrap up the 3 principles of these text-based emails. Number 1, make your emails look personalized. Whether you're using the person's first name, using a current event, kind of pointing out the elephant in the room, or simply having a sign off at the very end of the email by somebody in the company, more specifically if you're the founder, you, are the people that are going to be reading the email aren't going to feel like they're part of a big list, but that you sent them the email directly to them and them alone. Number 2, use real urgency. All right, the 2 big ones that we used in the second email were exclusivity, you're in the top 10% of people who've engaged with their emails, and 2, inventory scarcity, that the brand was about to run out of product and they didn't have enough on hand to make it through the wholesale. And the third principle, which again has been the most powerful for us and all of our clients, is radical honesty. In our third email, we said that, hey, our site manager forgot to turn off the discount code, so might as well give you the opportunity to buy because you're one of our most loyal customers. So remember, admitting your faults doesn't damage your reputation, it strengthens it. All right, thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one. It's a blooper. What do you want to say, blooper? Oh. What do you want to say? This is going to be the very end.
Live television. I've never been on live television before.
All right, bro. Woofers, I got to hurry up. Shut up. Blooper.